Hello, this is Paul Selzer from Cooperative Network Services. As part of our mission to provide more broadband to more rural places, we've created this interactive map to help you plan fiber build-outs, whether that's to plan for areas for the CAF II reverse auction areas, state broadband grant planning, or just generic planning. This will help you quickly and easily identify some of the best areas to build out to. Today I'll run through some of the data that's available, as well as show some queries that can be run to pull some data out of the map. The telephone exchange boundaries are included. This shows just the 6 states. This is available for all states, and this would help identify the carrier of last resort for either those carriers or for partnering with those carriers. The electric service area boundary map is very similar in terms of that. Will help to identify potential partners. Shown here is the Minnesota data. This data is available for some other states, but not all, and that can be taken on a case-by-case basis. Included also is the FCC Form 477 data, and this is the data provided to the FCC by the carriers to identify which providers serve each area, as well as to what extent they provide it. So here we can see all of the carriers in this census block. We can also see the maximum upload and download speeds. The preliminary Connect America Fund Phase 2 reverse auction area layer identifies the initial areas that the price cap carriers turn back as part of the CAF II program. In looking through this, we can identify the assumed support level and the number of locations per census block area. Now we'll have more data on this as the FCC works through their process. This is the preliminary list, but might give you a good idea of places that you may want to consider building at this point. The ACAM, the Alternative Connect America model, data is also included. This is the data that shows which areas the rate of return carriers have chosen to take the support from. These areas would not be available for any CAF auctions. In the state of Minnesota, the Department of Economic Development has mapped the served, unserved, and served areas of the state. That data is included, again, to help identify which areas need the help the most. Will also help with broadband grant applications. We've included the CNS fiber network here just as an illustration. We can add any network data components, elements that will help with your planning process, and that would be on an as-needed basis. We've added the median household income. Now this is by the census block group. Identifies the household income averages, which can be used for a broadband grant to compare the household income in those areas compared with the state average. Additionally, census blocks have the population and households, and this layer shows us housing units, which is the locations, and then the population as well, to help identify how many people and locations might be either required or the number that you want to look at building in those areas. And lastly, we've included anchor institutions, which may help you in determining a fiber path that might make the most sense in order to pick up some of these locations which either need more help or may help support the cost of something like this. Much of the value comes from turning on multiple layers at one time. And here we can see, if we turn on the deed layer, which shows us the current level of service, as well as those preliminary areas, the reverse auction areas, we can identify which areas are unserved, underserved, and their adjacency maybe to served areas for potential partners to connect to some of those areas. A lot of these layers can be turned on and a lot of data can be seen from that. The last thing I wanted to show was a query, and if we look at this Form 477 data, if we identify a location that we might want to build, we can take a larger area and we can run a query on that, and that will identify all of the providers within those areas, all of the speeds that are available. We can also then export that to a CSV file. We can sort, filter, etc. So that's all I have. If you have any questions about this, please contact me. Again, my name is Paul Selzrud from Cooperative Network Services. Phone number is 320-250-1296.